Welcome back. In Nigeria, the Association of General and Private Medical Practitioners of Nigeria has asked the federal government to put some wholesome laws in place, which is expected to protect non-smokers in order to stem the number of deaths resulting from tobacco smoking. It has already been realized that over 5 million people die worldwide as a result of tobacco intake. The theme of this year in Nigeria is smoking cessation and the family. The association wants government to legislate that every family have a family doctor and urges doctors in Nigeria to rededicate themselves to the service of the family and society. Our health correspondent Yomi Otaigwe joins us now for more on the World Tobacco Day. Thank you so much for joining us, Yomi.
Nice to be here, Bissy.
Now, when you look at the number of people who die of tobacco smoking annually, are you in any way surprised?
I would say I'm not surprised. And it's because you wonder that with all of the information around, and every year we talk about World No Tobacco Day, you still find some people smoking. And so you wonder, why is it so? Aside from the fact that over 500,000 people die annually worldwide, that is those that are smoking, the non-smokers, second-hand smoking, environmental smoking, you know, that is worrisome, because if 500,000 die from smokers, non-smokers, over 600,000 die. And so how do we protect the people who are not smoking, yet they are dying from this? And a whole lot of things have been going on around the world. You've talked about the plain packaging that the World Health Organization is pushing. Australia has blazed the trail, and we're hoping that more and more countries, especially Nigeria, would also go into this.
Okay, and what do you think are the reasons behind smoking in Nigeria?
This question, if you ask a smoker, he will tell you, well, I just want to smoke. Some people just want to smoke for the sake of it, maybe because of peer pressure. Some will say they have so many things on their minds and they think that by smoking, you know, they can dissipate some of those things that are worrying them. But really, smoking doesn't help. Not in any way. It doesn't help the body, because even after smoking, you will still get back to realize that all of the challenges that you think you're trying to run away from, they are still there. But I would say in Nigeria, smoking is not so something that's it's on the larger scale like you find in other parts of the world. Like, we find less women in Nigeria smoke, and we find 7% of Nigerian men smoke. And that is between the age range of 30 and 44. And so, but that is not to say it is not a challenge, because if you're smoking and whatever you're smoking is not only affecting you, is also affecting me, then we need to do something about it. And there's this prohibition, public smoking in Nigeria. It's there, and it's just that we need more of the implementation.
Exactly. Which brings me to my next question, is what do you think the authorities can do to reduce the number of smokers, especially within Nigeria?
The National Tobacco Bill needs to really, really be worked on and ensure that it comes into full effect. Yes, we are starting with the prohibition of smoking in public places. Abuja is already enforcing this, and in Lagos too. But we need to ensure that it is all around the country, so that if you decide to smoke against doctors' advice or expert advice, then you shouldn't hurt other people. You should not bring others to come and share in all of the side effects that can come from smoking. And so, yes, the government needs to do more in terms of the law. And of course, we have civil society organizations still pushing for this, and to ensure that indeed Nigeria is a smoke-free country.
Now, talking about side effects, how does this affect second-hand smokers?
Okay. Now, I was speaking with a doctor who said the person that is smoking, it was a cardiologist, is smoking through a filter. But the other man just sitting idle beside him is smoking without any filter. And so that's why you see that figure that you find 100,000 smokers around the world dying, while 600,000 non-smokers dying from smoke-related issues. So it is something that we really need to work on. And if you see somebody smoking, you just have to try and walk away from it if you can. If you can't, you can tell the person, this is a public place, don't smoke here, please. And again, if you go to nightclubs or enclosed places where you find one or two people smoking, you can help yourself by, not being in such environment. And especially for parents, some parents smoke at home, and this is not good for the children. Apart from the fact that the child may want to pick up that habit, it is also endangering the lives of people around such smoker.
Well, you talked about the tobacco bill earlier. How effective has this been? What is even the level of awareness with regards to this bill in the first place?
As I said, a lot of civil societies, they are pushing this to ensure that it becomes a law in Nigeria, and not just law, something that is implementable, something that will protect every Nigerian. We're talking about plain packaging. We're also talking about raising the tax on tobacco, and just to make sure that this would dissuade people from buying or from smoking. That's, I think, about what is being done right now. But in terms of awareness, I'm sure a lot of people have heard about smokers are liable to die young. Yet you find some people.
How effective has that warning been?
I think it's also about individuals. You want to believe what you want to believe. Some people will tell you, my grandfather smoked, and he was 80 or he was 90 years and he still died with, not from smoke-related causes. So I think it is what people want to believe. I know of a man who knows about his health status, and he's still smoking. And I ask, why? Well, he can't give me answers, but he still goes ahead to smoke. But it is not good for health.
All right, thank you very much, our health correspondent Yomi Otaigwe, for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me, Bisi.
Well, moving on now, Kenya's opposition party, the Coalition for Reforms and Democracy, has received the go-ahead to hold a freedom rally tomorrow in the capital, Nairobi. They had faced a ban imposed by the government. The country's High Court said there was no reason the rally could not hold, ordering the police chief, Josephine Bonnet, to ensure enough security before and after the rally so that no violence takes place. Meanwhile, President Uhuru Kenyatta has been holding talks with opposition leader Raila Odinga, hoping to diffuse tensions ahead of next year's elections. Before he went in, Mr. Odinga said he would make known at the end of the meeting whether there was an agreement or not. Angola's economy is struggling, and so are businesses in the country, especially those owned by migrants and foreigners. The country is yet to recover from the effects of falling oil prices, which has dented its currency, causing the government to borrow heavily.
It's been 8 years since entrepreneur Yudong Yang opened his business manufacturing advertising billboards in Angola's capital. Like many Chinese businesses operating in the country, Yudong was part of the hundreds of entrepreneurs who were lured by Angola's booming economy as a southern African country secured contracts with China worth 7.6 billion in the year 2012. But as the drop in oil prices continues to squeeze foreign exchange supplies, Yudong says he does not know how long he can keep his business running. We can't pay salaries, and we are unable to import material and equipment to this country. Our company has been forced to stop operations, and we hope that the foreign exchange rate will improve so that we can go back to importing materials that we need and serve the customers. Annual growth in the southern African country has averaged around 10% as the country rebuilt after a 27-year civil war ended in 2002. But the IMF predicts growth will fall to 3.9% this year. Agriculture and manufacturing have been squeezed out by oil, combined with chronic corruption and dilapidated infrastructure. Many foreign traders say they will be forced to close shop if the economic situation worsens. They said the crisis was only going to be for a short time, but we are struggling to deal with the problems. Many businesses will have to shut down because they can't cope. However, Angola's Minister of Industry, Bernarda Martins, has tried to appease investors and called for calm, saying the country's economic woes are only temporary.
We're talking about a phase here. This is just a phase. Yes, we have encountered some difficulties, especially regarding foreign exchange, but we believe that this is not a phase that will last a long time. We're trying to come up with solutions, and we believe that this situation will be resolved soon.
Udong says he is unable to return to China after putting massive investment into his business in Angola. Last month, Angola announced that it would enter loan negotiations with the International Monetary Fund for a 3-year loan facility. The IMF's Extended Fund Facility Program is designed for countries with balance of payment issues and slow growth of structural impediments. Angola will work with the IMF to design reforms aimed at improving fiscal discipline, simplifying the tax system, and increasing public finance transparency and the banking sector as part of the loan talks.
Well, back here in Nigeria, the Inspector General of the Nigerian Police, Solomon Arase, has ordered the disarmament of members of the Independent People of Biafra. The police boss goes on to condemn the alleged killing of police officers by the members of IPOB, who yesterday went violent during a protest in the southeast region. A statement issued by the first public relations officer, Olabisi Kolawole, says that the IGP has directed the Assistant Inspectors General of Police and the Commissioners of Police in the affected area to disarm members of the group operating firearms immediately. Mr. Arase notes that the targeted attacks on police personnel shows that IPOB activists have crossed the threshold in their attempt to test the common will of the nation. And with that, we wrap it up on Network Africa today. Thank you so much for watching. I am Bisi Adebayo.